Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with another episode of the Snowflake Viewpoint, episode 62. We are in a new era. The date and time is the 8th of July 2024 at 8 p.m. UK time. A new era, as in the last time we did a Snowflake Viewpoint, we had a very different government. We have a new one now here in the UK, and that is a Labour government. One that we will obviously be keeping a very close eye on as things progress, as things change over time. We are dual streaming here live on YouTube and twitch.tv. So youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. So if you could subscribe or follow, whichever would be greatly appreciated. So I have both chats up here as well. There is no live YouTube poll today. There will be one tomorrow morning for you. For those, there'll be the usual Tuesday morning poll that will drop in the morning, guys. So be sure to check that one out. The gang is here. They did survive the apocalypse of the general election and the aftermath of it. They're okay. They're okay. They just pull that back. Yeah. So the gang is here. As for the continuation, what's happening with the lava lamp, Regan? Why haven't you fixed the lava lamp? Yeah, I'm just gonna have to try and I'm just gonna have to try and order one off online because I just cannot get time to go into town, like not down the road, but actually to go into town to get the light bulb for it. So I'm gonna have to try and get one off online, which I don't want to do. But at this point, I'm kind of fed up of waiting. Making time to do it because not having the lava lamp is a disgrace, guys. It is an absolute disgrace. Who have we got here tonight? So Tory Regan is here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Jow is here as well. Good to see you moderating. One Angry Pagan is here, guys. This Thursday coming, this Thursday 8 p.m. myself and One Angry Pagan will be having a Snowflake's chat. So a Snowflake talking with a pagan, and we're talking about all things. We're talking about politics. We'll talk about Labour. Talk about Gaza. There's lots of things we'll be talking about. If someone can put a link to his YouTube channel, be sure to check out his channel as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. So do check that out this Thursday. So yeah, we've got four live streams in a row for you guys. The Genie Bottle is here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Alistair Kier, it's good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Joe Lefty is here. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Mad Monk is here. Good to see you, Mad Monk. Hope you're doing well. Hope you all have had a very good weekend. Dave McGuinness. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Evening, young fella. Have a cup on me. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Dave McGuinness. And you too. And you too. Keep. Don't give up, mate. Keep up the good fight. You know. I know it's it's like a boxing match, man. There's no knockout blow. Yeah. It's about you fall down. It's about how you pick yourself back up, buddy. That's all it is, man. Pick yourself back up. That's the best way to do it. But thank you for the £5 super chat, my friend. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you're not already, please subscribe to the Two Davies. The link is in the description. youtube.com/the Two Davies, and check out their show. They do every Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. UK time, guys. So do check them out whenever they're there. Greatly appreciate. Ben Shaw has also popped in as well. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope they've kind of recovered a little bit from the general election now. Obviously, there's still so much going on, guys. We're still trying to take everything in. But before I dive into the first article, I just wanted to share this with you guys because this literally just dropped, like literally about half an hour to an hour ago, and I just wanted to share this with you. This was confirmed by the Twitter account Politics UK. So this apparently is the shadow cabinet here for the Conservative Party, at least until they appoint a new leader. So obviously Rishi Sunak's obviously going to be the opposition leader. So you have the deputy leader of the opposition, Shadow Chancellor Duchy Lancaster, Oliver Dowden. The Shadow Chancellor will be Jeremy Hunt. The Shadow Secretary of State of Foreign Commonwealth Department of Royal Affairs will be Andrew Mitchell. The Shadow Home Secretary is James Cleverly. The Shadow Secretary of State of Defence is James Cartridge, if I can just about read that. I'm sorry, the text is not great, guys. The Shadow Secretary of State for Justice, Ed Angar. The Shadow Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology, Andrew Griffin. Shadow Health and Social Care Secretary, Victoria Atkins. The Shadow Secretary for State of Levelling Up the Housing Communities, Kemi Baganot, for that one. For the State of Environment, Rural Affairs, the shadow is Steve Barclay. Chris Phillips is the shadow leader of the House of Commons. Shadow leader of the House of Lords is Lord Drew. The shadow Secretary of State of Business and Trade is Kevin Hollinrake. The shadow Secretary of State for Energy and Security and Net Zero is Claire Coutinho. Mel Stride is the Shadow State of Work and Pensions. Shadow Secretary of State of Education is Damien Hines. Shadow Secretary of State of Transport is Helen Whitney. Culture, Media and Sport is Julio Lopez. And Attorney General there, Jeremy White. State of Northern Ireland, Alex Bernard. State of Scotland, John Lalmont. Secretary of State for Wales. These are all shadow, by the way. Lord Davis Gower. Opposition Chief Whip is Stuart Andrew. Shadow Chief Treasury Secretary to the Treasury, Laura Trott. Shadow Paymaster General John Glean. Security Minister Tom Tugendhat is the shadow one for that. Shadow Veterans Manager Andrew Bowen. And finally, down at the bottom, the shadows, women's and equalities there, Miriam Davis. So, yeah, Shadow Warriors. Yes, it is, yeah. That's come from the Twitter account, Politics UK. They literally just put that down the last half an hour. Where does Voldemort? I'm sure Voldemort has a position in the shadow cabinet somewhere. But yeah, that is that's just literally just dropped there. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm sure there'll be an article in the next day or two. Not that it really has that much of an impact on this guys on it. So I'm getting a bit of a hiccups there. I think I recognise about a third on that list as well, Andrew Pagan. Yeah, there's quite a few names I'm not too familiar with, if I'm honest. But to be fair, I think it will shuffle around once Rishi Sunak is gone, and I think it's just been pulled together while a successor is named, pretty much. So that's kind of what it is. It's just been pulled together, really. I think it is. So let's just notice. I didn't see. I didn't see Suella Braverman or Priti Patel's names in that list as well. Interesting. Yeah, so they've been completely out. Not that it matters, really. They're just a shadow cabinet, to be fair, guys. Right, so the first article I've got for you guys. So it's not an exact number, but obviously it's definitely some food for thought with this one, guys. So this is an exclusive from The Guardian that dropped earlier today. So voter ID rule may have stopped 400,000 taking part in UK elections, a poll suggests. So exclusive reveals that 3.2% of those surveys said they were turned away at least once, with minority ethnics worse affected. So obviously, Mog's no longer an MP. That's why he's not on the list, Jal. So it's obviously we need to wait. There needs to be an investigation, obviously, into. We don't know the full extent of the general election. There's still quite a lot of numbers and digestion still from the aftermath general election. It may take a week or two before or even longer than that, before we find out just how many people were disenfranchised by voter ID, who were denied their vote by postal vote. And like Dave McGuinness said on his channel earlier today, there may be a case for Scotland to make it in there, because a lot of postal votes were denied as well. So there were some questions here. Now, 400,000 votes, I think, is a massive amount of number, especially when some of the seats were literally decided by just a couple of hundred votes. There were one or two seats even decided by less than 100 votes, 100 seats by 100 votes. So that's quite significant. And especially, like, we knew that voter ID was going to be a problem. We knew it was going to be problematic. And it seems like here, according to this, and obviously I would take this with a pinch of salt as well, because that's really, really important, ethnic minorities were worse affected. Now, here's the thing that comes to my mind is that if they didn't have ID, surely you're going to reject them. But it says ethnic minorities were worse affected. Now, I'm assuming the premise is that they came with no ID and they were turned away just like white people were turned away. I would assume that everyone was turned away equally for not bringing their ID. That's my assumption. I don't think anyone was allowed to vote without ID, but I'm assuming that everyone was equally across the board, shall we say. But we don't know that for sure. But Still, if it is 400,000, that is really damning, and it really shows just how bad voter ID is. I really, really wish it would be scrapped, but I don't think Labour are going to do that. They did say they did reportedly say before the election that they would look into voter ID. They didn't say that they would scrap it. They said they would. I believe the term they used is they were going to renew it. So obviously they did say they were going to introduce voter ID to 16s and 18s. Obviously that's going to take time. Obviously other priorities right now, but still, this is a major problem. And there needs to be more ID needs to be made available for younger people if you're going to keep it. I've said this before and I've said this again. It's not right that we should have voter ID for a general election and not be given free identification. Everyone in the country for it. If you are a British citizen, you should be given free ID, no questions asked, because it's not fair that people who can't pay, who don't have a passport or can't pay for a passport, is denied their right to vote or don't have the ID. It's not right. I don't care what political party you were going to vote for. Whether you're going to vote Conservative, Reform, Labour, Greens, Lib Dem, it doesn't matter. Everyone should have the right to vote. No one should be denied their right to vote. And 400,000 people is just it's wrong in every sense of the word. Everyone should be given the opportunity to cast their vote. There's no debates about this at all. So more than 400,000 people may have been prevented from voting in the general election because they lack the necessary ID. From those from minority ethnic communities, more than twice as likely to experience this, the poll has suggested. Of those by more in common, 3.2% said they were turned away at least once last Thursday, which if reflected across the UK would equate to more than 850,000 people. Now, I don't know if we're going to say it'd be that many people, but it's entirely possible. Simon says 55, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Of these, more than half said they either did not return out or came back and were still unable to vote. So some people went to vote, then they told they didn't have the correct ID or they didn't have ID on them. They went away, came back with ID and were turned away again because they didn't have the correct ID. Now, if that's the case, that's really, really bad because it means that the government and communities did not highlight enough to people about the need for voter ID. That's really bad, especially if there's someone who was told to go and get ID and they went to bring their ID and they found out it wasn't suitable. That's really bad. Among people turned away at least once, about a third had ID that was not on relatively narrow list of permitted documents. About a quarter said their name on their ID was different to that of the electoral register. I knew that was going to be an issue. I knew that was going to be a damn issue. And 12% said they were told that their picture on the ID did not match their appearance. Oh. A poll of more than 2,000 people across Great Britain, coordinated by the campaign group Hope Not Hate, also indicated that the voter ID rules used last week for the first time in a general election disproportionately affected minority ethnic people. And it found that 6.5% of voters of colour were turned away from a polling booth at least once, compared with 2.5% of white voters. And that the rule that voters must show photo ID was introduced by the Conservative government as part of its 2022 Elections Act, despite minimal evidence that the in-person voter fraud was a significant problem. Before it was brought in, charities and campaigners said it was more likely to affect people from poorer and minority ethnic communities or those with disabilities who are less likely to have the necessary ID. People lack the correct ID can apply for the free document called a voter authority certificate. However, take-ups have been relatively low, with only about 60,000 issued during the general election campaign. You know what you really should do? You should just, like I said, everyone should be handed a free ID. Should not be a case that, oh, you want to vote, you need to get the free certificate document. It's not right. I know that Labour are looking at, I believe it was Labour looking at introducing like an auto-register for people as well. That was going to be something as well, which would be interesting. If voter ID is easily accessible and not discriminately denied, but no problems. But not as it is now, says one angry pagan. Yeah, that's true. Another potential issue is people deciding not to vote or even register to vote because they know they lack the ID. The polling found that 6% of people said the ID requirements had affected their decision on whether or not to vote. and that they did not vote, which, if reflected nationally, could have meant up to 2.8 million not voting that might otherwise have done so. Yeah, so that is also possible, but we also have to remember that this was a lot of people. There were also a significant, the low turnout in this general election. Yes, this did play a factor into it. I'm not going to deny that. But let's be very clear, a lot of Conservative voters just did not vote, did not bother turning up, not because they didn't have the ID, but because out of protest and how much anger and frustration they had at the Conservatives, and they weren't prepared to cast their vote for any other political party. So there were a lot of people who simply didn't bother turning up voting at all because they had completely lost faith in politics. So so it's important to understand that as well. Now, obviously 2.8 million people, that would not surprise me if that was the amount of people. That would not surprise me if it was up to 2.8 million people, but I would factor in those instances to that as well. So David Weaver, the chair of Operation Black Vote, said it was no surprise that minority ethnic people were disproportionately affected, and these symptomatic barriers underscore a democracy that is too often works against us rather than for us, highlighting the urgent need for large-scale constitutional reform, he said. George Lamy of Hope Not Hate said, this was a generation-defining election, and yet hundreds of thousands of voters were shut out from voting because of confusing and unnecessary voter ID laws. This general election was first under a new voter ID law, and it must be the last. As much as I want that to be the case, I do not. If Labour wanted to scrap voter ID, they would have said so. And I don't see them doing that. I'd like to think that the Lib Dems, the SNP, the Greens will push for it to be scrapped. I'm sure they would be united in that. But considering it was introduced by the Conservatives, they will obviously want to keep it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Reform would be more than happy to keep voter ID in as well. So, yeah. Before the rule was brought in, Labour opposed the idea, arguing it was not needed given the apparent tiny problem of voter impersonation. From 2010 to 2016, spanning two general elections and the EU referendum, there were 146 allegations of what is officially known as voter impersonation. 7 people were convicted, 5 of them in a single case in Derby. So from 2010 to 2016, 146 allegations. That's not really a lot there, to be fair. It's a non-ID culture. These was a cheap blow. You need to make sure everyone has proper identification documents, says Jow. Yeah, that's the problem. It's not right that people are not given the documentation. Some people just can't afford to buy their passport. It's just shutting down people's voices. Stephen Banker, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. National insurance number should be the same as voter ID. Everyone gets them before leaving school. A simple solution, automatic system, pin coded. Yeah, I mean that's a given as well with national insurance number. So they should, like I've said before about there should be some kind of national ID card like the rest in Europe has. Like we should all be given an introduction to a national ID card. I just don't think it's right that people who are on the poor end, who are struggling, are told that they have to buy ID. But the thing is that people have to go through hoops to get the free voter certificate to be able to vote, which is not right. People should not have to go through hoops. The government should be providing the ID necessary to people. However, Labour is not pledging to change the policy in the government beyond looking at potentially expanding the list of acceptable documents, which included 6 types of passes for older people, but no equivalent ones for younger people. Yeah, they said they have said they would. I did see them say they would review it, but nothing more than that. Artibus, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, that's the only thing I've heard from Labour on this is that they will review it, but that's it. Nothing else. Lib Dems said they would scrap it. I don't recall what the Greens said, but I'm going to assume they would sit with the Lib Dems, and I'm pretty sure the SNP, if they had the choice, not that I suppose it does affect them in the general election, but I'm sure they would vote with Lib Dems and Greens in scrapping voter ID because it's not necessary at all. But still, 400,000, up to 400,000 people. And up to 2 million people obviously not voting. This is very, very bad. This is voter suppression. This is anti-democratic in every way, shape, or form. If the Labour government really do believe in democracy, they would either scrap the policy or make it more easier for people to get their hands on ID.
make it easier, make it simpler, and make it clearer to people. Because putting it, running ads and all that kind of stuff, it helps. But like literally more needs to be done to highlight to the British public about it, which is a real shame as well, guys. So the next one I've got for you guys is another exclusive from The Guardian. Where are they getting all these exclusive from? To be fair, it is stuff we've talked about before, but again, it's highlighting this is going to highlight once again some of the challenges that the Labour government is going to be having, guys. So the poor state of Thames Water is a critical risk to the United Kingdom, Starmer and Reeves have been told. So Whitehall warns that the firm's deteriorating infrastructure and a £15.6 billion of debt poses an urgent problem. So yes, so how are they going to address this issue, guys? This is the question. I generally believe there is we do not need any kind of capitalism, any kind of market within the water companies in competing with competing water companies. It's pointless, it's folly, it's nonsense. It needs to come back into state hands. Now, obviously, there's a lot of problems. It's unfortunately, from what I've heard, obviously, it's not as simple as just taking it back into state hands, these water companies. But we do need to get them back out of the private sector. We need to get our water companies back in state hands. For God's sake, this is water we're talking about. Something that we need to drink, something that we need to live, and yet we have it in the hands of private companies who know that governments and customers need water. I mean, yes, Labour said they're going to strengthen Ofwat. Yeah, obviously, when it comes to dealing with. Good morning, Steve McMorgan. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. They would strengthen Ofwat when it comes to clamping down on them, but that's not really and they said they would obviously produce like criminal cases against executives and whatnot, but that's not dealing with the problem. That's kind of like saying you will do, it's just kind of like throwing pressure on them, but it's not really going to deal with the problem, in my opinion. So I hope that the Lib Dems, the Greens again, the SNP, and maybe even Reform, I'm sure, will apply pressure to a Labour government to do more to tackle with this thing. But I do know, obviously, as it has been reported, obviously, it's going to take years to clean up the damage that the water companies have done to our environment when it comes to sewage. It's going to take years. It's not going to take days. It's not going to take weeks. It's not going to take months. It's going to take years. And people, unfortunately, have very little patience. But that is the reality of the situation that we have now. I'll make sure to bring up voter ID with my new Lib Dem MP and with anyone in Labour. I have the opportunity to. Yeah. If you in your local MP, guys, write to your local MP if you can, and just say to them about voter ID. Make the point very clear, because obviously, if you're somebody who was denied the right to vote, whether it was for postal vote or not having the correct ID, pressure your MP. If you voted for your MP, if your MP is new, you can pressure them by literally sending a letter and saying, my right, I wanted to vote for you, but my right was taken away, or, it's because obviously they want to make, they want to make their every vote count. So if there was someone, if you were someone that backed, let's say, for instance, if they were from Stevenage, for example, because Stevenage is a very conservative constituency, switched from Conservative to Labour. If you were someone from there and you were a Labour voter, but you couldn't cast your vote because you didn't have the correct ID, for example, if you write to your new MP and you said, I wanted to cast my vote for you, but I couldn't because of voter ID, he will obviously do more to pressure back in Westminster to do more to make it to simplify it for people being able to cast their vote, because obviously, the next general election, next by-election, it's going to be some of these seats are not guaranteed for Labour to hold on to, not guaranteed at all. Clean up water companies, remove crap out of the gaining greedy pockets of large pay, says Genie Bowl. Yeah, that definitely needs to be done. Thames Water is nearly bankrupt to get it after and nationalise it on the cheap. Yeah, they should. Well, the thing is, the problem is they can't let it go bankrupt, because then they technically can't make it. They can't allow it to go bankrupt technically, because we need it. We need it working. So I'm not sure how Labour are going to address this issue. I'm sure that I don't know who the environment DEFRA is. It was the new environmental affairs appointee was made today, I believe. But I'm sure whoever's got that appointment, obviously, they will obviously be looking at what legal routes that they can take to apply pressure to the water companies. Legal routes, and I think that's the key word there. Copying some EU laws would be a good idea. Here, in any private contract issued to private provide a public service, that the service has to be equal in price and quality, at least of the public service or the state that cancels it. No severance payments, nothing, just leave, says Jow. Yep, that sounds very reasonable there. So let's read a bit into this, you guys. So the Prime Minister and Chancellor have been briefed by Whitehall officials that the poor state of Thames Water presents a critical risk to the country, the Guardian understands. So fears about the company go beyond its precarious financial position and includes the management of sites that's provided drinking water and sewage treatment for millions of customers across the capital and the Thames Valley. So Kier, Starmer and Reeves were first to be briefed on the issue. They were warned by civil servants that the dire state of Thames infrastructure is one of the most urgent problems facing the new government, according to sources. The condition of Copper Mills, a vast water treatment works in the northeast London that serves as many as 3 million people, is particularly alarming. Ministers' aides have been told the site is classed among the UK's most important pieces of national infrastructure. A financial update on Tuesday is due to reveal more about the frayed finances of Britain's biggest water companies. Thames' annual result will be followed on Thursday by an initial verdict from the water company of what on water companies' 5-year spending plans and bill increases. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That will be. Thames was among a list of critical risks that require urgent attention, with its potential financial collapse considered a potential major threat to critical national infrastructure, according to briefings given to the Prime Minister and Chancellor. Yeah, see, this is exactly it. They can't exactly just say, yeah, let's just let it go bankrupt, because we need it functioning, guys. So that's the problem. How do you address that issue? That's the thing. Management's failings have added fears of potential widespread disruption to essential services caused by crumbling infrastructure. It is understood. It has been reported that the ailing water company is among the top priorities of the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Sue Gray. On Monday, the PM spokesperson suggested that the government would prefer not to nationalise the company, saying it doesn't think it is the right course of action. Well, I'm sorry, but that's a stupid comment. That's a stupid thing to not put it back in the hands of the state. Water companies should be in the hands of the government. They should not be in the hands of private companies. It really is. It really isn't that hard to figure out. Number 3, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. You doing another video today? Yeah, guys, make sure you check out Number 3's YouTube channel, youtube.com/number3. He does a couple of he does a bit of a YouTuber himself. Do free check out his stuff, guys. They added, instead of government's focus on holding these companies to account, ensuring that they're investing and improving our systems rather than rewarding themselves. Oh, by the way, Number 3, if you're on Discord, can you send me a message whenever you get the chance? Yeah, buddy, I appreciate it. The government will have no choice but to move to safeguard London's water supply should Thames finances fail. Thames is the most in debt of the UK's water monopolies and is labouring under a £15.6 billion debt pile. Its finances has been left threadbare after previous shareholders, led by the Australian bank Macquarie, can't say that one, siphed out billions of pounds of dividends, and it was fined for pollution and leaks. Emergency plans drawn up by Whitehall and seen by The Guardian would turn the company into a publicly owned arm's-length body under the state special administration regime. And this will ensure they continue to provide water and sewage treatment to service to its 60 million customers in London and Thames Valley. Yeah, you can't not turn that off. You just can't turn that off. You really can't. It's too dangerous. Thames is burning through its cash reserves as it struggles to attract new investment. Last month, it was revealed by The Guardian that the company agreed to pay £150 million dividends in late March, hours before its existing shareholders' U-turn on providing £500 million of emergency funding. Yeah, that's the thing. The government was just throwing money at the I just hate that we are throwing taxpayer money. I hate this. I hate this system. I hate this system so much that we have, guys. I really, really do. concerns about its future rest not only on its financial position. Officials are fearful of the ability of the company to make and manage essential improvements and to its creaking operations and infrastructure. In a sign of how serious concerns about its future are the debate is being weighed around number 10 and number 11 rather than solely at the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, which has been working on a rescue plan with the Treasury. So, yeah, he has obviously, they have been briefed on this issue, so they are obviously, they were aware of it, but I'm supposed obviously behind closed doors they've been told how severely bad this is. But we know that the Chancellor is not going to be putting her hands in her pockets. That's the problem. Spokesperson for DEFRA said, "We are closely monitoring the situation and the company remains stable." Source close to Steve Reed, the newly appointed DEFRA Secretary of State, said, "We are in this situation because of 14 years of Conservative incompetence. The Conservative weak in regulation allowed water companies to get into debt while the sewage system crumbled and illegal sewage dumping hit record levels." Yes, absolutely. The Conservatives buggered this up. There's no question about that. He added, "The election of this Labour government is a reset moment for our water industries. Over the coming weeks and months, this government will outline its first steps to reform the water sector. Plans for Thames nationalisation would, in effect, pull it on the government's balance sheets. Investors would be likely to face steep losses on loans made to the company." Thames Water declined to comment. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. Spokesperson for Ofwat declined to comment on specific briefings, but they have said in the statement, "Safeguard is in place to ensure that the service of customers are protected regardless of the issues faced by shareholders of Thames Water. We will publish our view of the business plan for the 2025-2030 period on July the 11th. That's in just a few days' time, guys. Along with all other water companies, as part of our PR24 proposals, Thames Water must continue to pursue all options to seek further equity to fund its turnout plan for the benefit of customers and the environment." So Ofwat are basically saying we will not allow basically the taps to turn off, essentially is what they're saying there. But it is still... this clusterfuck that the Conservatives have left us in with the water companies has been nothing short of bad. That is for sure. But yeah, it's really, really frustrating to say the least. Yeah, it's just annoying. I just wish there was a simple solution to literally just put them in the public hands, like literally put them in the public hands, like this whole playing around with it. There is a way. I mean, I'm sure there's a way we can leave the debts in the hands of the people responsible and kind of just take it away from them, because it is ours at the end of the day. It is our water, and we put it in the hands of people who do not care about our water and only care about the bottom line. That's all they care about. And if it was up to them, they would hike up water bills to like £100 or even more than that. Frustrating. Water is the life of a country and should be nationally owned in every country, says Junior Bowl. Absolutely, absolutely. Terry Regan says, "I did a video this morning too." Yes, Terry Regan has his own YouTube channel as well, guys. Terry Regan, Plymouth Activist for Justice. I'm sure if you search that up, it'll come up there as well. Everyone's just saying hello to you. "No profit should be made on natural life juice, water, etc." says Ginny Bowl. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Guys, just before I go to the next article, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate it. And share this across social media so others are notified of this video. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. It really does help support the channel, guys. I'd like to get to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So we're more than halfway there. So can we get there, guys? Any free single subscriber count gets me one step closer to that goal, guys. So thank you to everyone who has hit the like button, shared, commented, and all that stuff. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. And if you're on Twitch, make sure you hit the follow button as well. It really does support me on Twitch as well. So something happened today, guys. Unfortunately, it has been fixed now, but I wanted to share this with you because I think it's worth a good laugh over this anyway. Unfortunately, it has been restored, though. So the Conservatives' X account was deleted after landslide loss to Labour. The something went wrong now is the only thing that was showing on the official page. So, yes. Good evening, D4PTN on Twitch. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. So, yes, guys. This is absolutely true, guys. This happened today. So people were looking for the Conservatives' official Twitter account, and it had disappeared. They could not find it. Where did it go? No idea. Unfortunately, it has been restored. I'm sorry to say, guys, much to the shame. But it was really, really funny at the time when it was down. So this article was done at the time of when the Twitter account, the Conservatives' official Twitter account, was taken down. But it is definitely a bit of a laugh, that's for sure. So the Conservative Party's official account on X, formerly Twitter, has been deleted. No, it wasn't deleted. It was just removed. The removal came today, a few days after the Tories suffered a landslide defeat to Labour in the general election. Visitors to the page only saw an error message indicating that the account was no longer live. Something went wrong with one of the messages. Conservative sources suggested that the deletion was an error on X's behalf and that it was working to restore the account, which it has done. So I imagine a lot of them will say, Musk, you turned off our account. Like, yes, we lost the election, but we don't want to stop using X. We want to keep using X. Please don't turn off our account. The party had used the account heavily during the campaign. Materials posted on the page, including attack ads against Labour as well as policy announcements. The accounts of senior Conservative figures, including outgoing leader Rishi Sunak, are still live on the site. The former Prime Minister's accounts are still linked to the official Conservative account. Like I said, it's back up now. It is running now. The party also operates an account handles CCHQ Press, which says in its new post news updates and analysis from the official CCHQ Press office that's still online. It's not been updated since the 3rd of July, the day before the election. They haven't even updated it at the time of this recording, guys. Inquiries to the X resulted in automatic replies reading show busy now. Please check back later. Jal says they were cancelled. Cancel culture. Yes. They were cancelled, guys. Yes, so the official Conservatives' official X account was cancelled. Was officially cancelled for a limited time. It is back on now, guys. But I thought it was. I just wanted to share that with you guys because I think, as if getting kicked to the curb by the British public was bad enough, they got kicked off Twitter as well. So yeah, they got kicked off Twitter as well. I mean, I'm sorry, but we can laugh about it because they deserve it. They deserve it. I hope we continue to mock and laugh at them because for what they've done, because they really have driving us into the ground. They really drove us in the ground, and it's very sad to see them back on Twitter. I will say that. I just wanted to share that little funny story with you guys. So, guys, before I go to the next article, I need to share this very important video with you guys. So, obviously, we had lots of election debates, obviously, during the run-up to the general election, but apparently I missed one. And I can't believe I missed this political debate. It is quite, I really am quite ashamed that of all the debates I missed, how on earth I missed this was quite shocking, guys. So, yes, I hope you enjoyed the 1-minute leaders debate here.
Welcome to Salford for another election debate. It's Sunak against Starmer. Who will come out on top? Find out in the next 60 seconds on the 1-minute leaders debate. Good evening. We're live for the 1-minute leaders debate. The leaders are here. We've got an audience ready to ask questions, and we've only got 60 seconds to do it all. Keir Starmer, your opening statement, please. You have 1 second. Thank you. This election is all about choice. Time's up. Rishi Sunak, your opening statement, please.
These are uncertain times.
Thank you. Our first question is from Peter in Huddersfield about the cost of living crisis. Peter. Good evening. I've worked all my life. Peter, thank you. Rishi Sunak, let's start with you. You have 2.5 seconds.
Well, Peter, I understand. And that's why.
Thank you. Keir Starmer. My dad was a tool maker. Thank you. Keir Starmer, what do you say to Rishi Sunak when he says that the plan is working, bearing in mind that you only have 3 seconds and mustn't use any word containing the letter E? Sorry, you lose 2 points. Rishi Sunak, your response.
To what?
Sorry, that's incorrect. The right answer was, we've got a bold plan for these uncertain times. Now, we've only got 2 seconds left. The next question is from Wayne in Grace Hope, Moxley and Chesterton under Sevingholm. Sadly, the debate gong means we're out of time. I'd like to thank our 2 leaders for a very stimulating debate. We'll be back tomorrow for the arm wrestling special between Penny Mordaunt and Angela Rayner, but for now, from Salford, goodbye.
Oh, can't believe I missed that, guys. I'm so sorry for missing that 1-minute leaders debate. Shameful. I'm sorry, guys. I should have caught that one. I don't know how I missed that leaders debate, but I'm sure that arm wrestling contest between Angela Rayner and Penny Mordaunt would have been worth seeing too, but I have still not been able to find the footage of the arm wrestling contest, so I do apologise, guys. But I hope you enjoyed that 1-minute leaders debate. I thought it was very, very interesting as well. His dad was a tool maker, so he made a tool. Yeah, he made a tool. He made a tool. He made a tool indeed. That was Michael Spicer on Guy's YouTube channel. Do check out his stuff. He hasn't done much. That's the only. I think that was one of the only political one he's done lately. So if you want to check it out, the link for it is in the description there for you guys. Right, so this next one I've got for you guys is from Sky News, and it's of great concern. So, prisoners are likely to be released earlier as part of Labour's plans to tackle prison overcrowding. Now, obviously, you can copy and paste this before the general election and literally take out Labour and put Conservative on that. I know. The Home Secretary warns easing prison overcrowding is not going to be a quick fix, and she is extremely concerned by the system inherited from the Conservatives. There's absolutely no question that this system is really broken. We know the system is really broken. However, they've got quite some powerful people in this area with expertise who are obviously going to have some real knowledge of what to do with this system. Obviously, the main crisis point is what they're going to do about dealing. They need to obviously reduce the prison overcrowding first and foremost. Now, obviously, we haven't read this yet, but my assumption is that those that they release earlier are not going to be rapists. They're not going to be rapists. They're not going to be murderers. They're not going to be those who are the heinous of crimes. I'm pretty certain Labour are not that stupid to let them out early. But I'm sure, obviously, maybe those on drug-related crimes, maybe on low end of carrying a knife potentially, maybe some of them might get released. I'm not saying people carrying knives and them getting released is a good thing. I'm not suggesting that in any way, shape or form. I'm looking at some of the most minor offences, the most lowest offences. Hell, maybe even release some of the protesters who are arrested for literally, freedom of speech and whatnot as well. Yeah, I just hope that if they are releasing prisoners earlier, they are being very specific about the kinds of people that they're going to be letting out, and not just doing the plan that the Conservatives were going to end up doing on this. So the government is expected to announce plans to ease the overcrowding in jails across England and Wales by the end of this week. So yeah, so we need to keep an eye out for it. So Sky News understands one of the core proposals that's being considered is lowering the automatic release point from the 50% mark in an inmate sentence to 40% or 43%. Ah, interesting. Okay. At the moment, prisoners serving standards determine sentences of those with fixed end dates and are released at the halfway point. Once released, they serve their sentence on licenses, meaning that they are supervised to the probation service in the community must stick to those certain conditions. Lowering to the automatic release point means thousands of additional inmates could be let out early. Sexual violence and terror-related offences are excluded from the proposal. So this is quite key there. That's good to know that they've excluded those people there. I think that's really, really important. Just before I'll carry on, guys, I just want to say thank you, Alistair Kier, for the 10 gifted memberships. I really appreciate your support, my friend. He's gifted 10 gifted memberships to Joe Lefty, Terry Regan, Mag Monk 33, Chatty Rat, Ben Shaw, 91 Leeds, Jura, John Rodcroft, Frederick Rolf III, and Shell H. I'm not saying her name right. Shell H there. I apologise if I mispronounce any of the names. I really thank you so much, Alistair Kier, for the support. I really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. Kier Library, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. One area that's been greatly cut and having a lot of issues, the problems is the probation service and other service support, i.e. education tracking prisoners. 100%. That's a really important. That's a great point there, QA. Good to see you there. Yeah, absolutely. There is no question that that area, rehabilitation, being able to give people the tools that they need to get back on their feet, back into getting starting a new life and all that kind of stuff. If you just it's literally like throwing people out after they've served their sentence and say, there you go on, get out of there and do something of yourself. And it's just like some people need support. They need something to broaden their shoulders. And that's a really, very, very, really important point. So, absolutely. It comes as Justice Secretary Shabina Mahmood today met with, that's it. met representatives from across the prison service at the beginning of her first full week in the role. Now, Sky News understands Miss Marwood was keen to emphasise her background as a barrister, experience in the sector, and the Prime Minister's former job as Director of Public Prosecutions. This is key stuff here. You've got someone here who has experience as a barrister and has worked, as well as a former Director of Public Prosecutions as well. So this is obviously added credentials to her already that will help her in this role. She expressed her desire to better embrace technology and AI to improve the efficiency of service to the future. Yeah, technology is obviously something that is across the board on all, in any and all departments, to be fair, guys. I don't think anyone's arguing that one. Ms. Marwood spoke to the immediate problems in prisons, though sources say little detail was provided as the government continues to weigh up its options. Yeah, what the thing is that the Labour government, I really want to stress this, guys, they are hitting the ground running. But we also have to understand is that while they've been sitting on the outside in opposition, they can only see on the outside of how bad the things are. Now that they are in government, they can now actually see what is actually going on. What, like, for example, what Rachel Reeves has seen in terms of the numbers and the actual budgets within the Treasury, for example. Shabina here is actually seeing the actual core problems, like how bad it really is in fine detail now that she is in government. And this is across all the departments now. They can actually see how bad things are, and they need to look at them and see, okay, these were a lot worse than we expected. And so they can better organize for them, because obviously they want to hit the ground running, but at the same time they need to see how bad the damage is, and what they can do to at least stop the rot as of right now. I think that's really, really important. It wants any prospective new measures to begin breathing room to alleviate immediate pressures while working to continue to find long-term solutions. Yeah, this is exactly what I would have said. Yeah. Over the weekend, the Justice Secretary took briefings from the Prisons and Probation Service, and is expected to announce the decision at the end of the week. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out on that. That will be important. Sources close to the prison service are concerned that any decision needs to come in effect quickly rather than remaining stuck in a cycle of emergency measures like the end of custody supervised license scheme. Yeah, the Conservatives literally just had to put on the emergency brakes. They even had to even during the election campaign. I don't know if you guys remember, during the election campaign, a few weeks before a week or two after the election was called, there were I think I covered even reports about the prison service was about to be like completely overwhelmed, and both political parties, Labour and the Conservatives, had to put in, like, they had to work with the government. Emergency managers had to be put in to kind of mediate the disaster that was incoming, and that's how crazy it was. This was introduced under the Conservative government in October and allows certain prisoners to be released up to 70 days before the end of their sentence to ease the overcrowding. Probation officers had previously told Sky News that high-risk prisoners were being left out without significant time for safeguarding checks. The Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer had committed to keeping the previous government scheme in order to free up space for his government inherits a ballooning prison population. I'm so used to saying Rishi Sunak there, guys. I will get used to saying Prime Minister Keir Starmer, I will. Sky News understands that there are around 700 spaces left in male prisons across England and Wales. That's 700 left. 700. Yeah, they need to look. Yeah, those on the lower end of the threshold, they need to let out. The lower crime thresholds, yeah, they need to let them out. They really do. I understand the risk for it, but they need to free up the space to give prisons some breathing room. They need the breathing room now. The pressure is expected to ease in August as the courts sit for fewer days between August and October, meaning fewer people are sent to jail. On a neighbourhood policing visit to South London, the Home Secretary Yvette Cooper today admitted that there's not going to be a quick fix to solve the overcrowding in prisons, suggesting the government is extremely concerned by the situation it inherited from the Tories. Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is going to be a challenge. It seems to have been a scorched earth policy in which they have failed to build the prisons that we need, she said. Yeah, but it's not just the key thing, guys, is it's not just about building prisons. That's not going to fix the issue. You're not, building prisons takes time, costs money. It's not going to fix the crux of the issue of the here and now. And the thing is that it's also about some of the some of the actual sentencing that we are giving to certain prisoners as well. Obviously, and we've talked about this as well, the criminal justice system is broke because obviously there's been reduction to austerity that was imposed in that, which meant that rape victims were waiting up to 5 years to be heard, which was absolutely outrageous to say the least. So we even had that issue on top of everything else. So yeah, so because of the court systems obviously as well, made it even harder to get people's not everyone is obviously guilty or guilty, but obviously not being able to get enough cases. So we have a broken criminal justice system, which is obviously linked to our prisons crisis, and then obviously we have the crime obviously that's not been under control either. So you have all these intertwining links that are all connected to each other. So yeah, Bibi Stockholm for prison. No, I don't. Look, the solution is not building prisons. The solution right now, like, you can't, like, you could do that, Simon. You could do that as an emergency measure. But for me, the solution right now to reduce the overcrowding right now is to let a lot of people on the smaller criminal offences, whether it's from protesting to being caught with drugs, just get them out of prisons and force them on community service. Get them to do community service. Get them doing voluntary community service. Well, not voluntary, but make them do community service. Yeah, put them to work to pay off the rest of their time instead of in prison. Put this option to them, and if they don't do it, and if they don't keep to their promises, then they get thrown back in jail. Do something like that. You know, get more people out of the prisons that aren't necessarily really needed there because of their low crimes, and put them to work. You know, to pay back. Yeah, they can pay back to the community or something if they're, you know, from drugs and even those who have protested, because obviously there was obviously the new laws introduced that certain people would have to go to prison, yeah, because of, you know, like Just Stop Oil and whatnot. Like that's all nonsense. Like, just get them to do community service. Like, take them out of the prisons. Waste of time, waste of space, waste of money. Number 3, thank you. Oh, there you go. Thank you for the £5 super chat. The Bibi Stockholm prison barge is reserved for the Tory trash. No, the final flight to Rwanda is reserved for the Conservatives. Number 3, but it's a great idea. But I do appreciate the suggestion. But thank you for that. Yeah, you know, we want, you know, Suella Braverman wanted that dreamed of that flight. You know, well, we're putting her and the rest of those who are on a flight to Rwanda. Portland had a prison boat in the same place as Bibi, says Junior Bottle as well. Yeah, they did indeed. I really hope Starmer tackles the prison issues, because of what I saw here in documents and news is getting too little in South America. Yeah, obviously we talked before about the prisons. Some of the prison systems in South America are absolutely horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Like, it's really, really scary to be in those prisons. Like, they are absolutely terrifying. I've seen it. I've talked. I think I talked on the channel one time about a documentary about some young lads in South America who were on holiday or touring or whatever, and they got caught up in it and they ended up in prisons there for drug related issues. And it was the worst, and it was the most horrific time they've ever had in their lives, because obviously they're not used to the culture or anything, and they were in those prisons where the gangs run the prisons, not the guards. The gangs run the prisons. Absolutely frightening, absolutely frightening to say the least. Yeah, but I don't think it won't be that bad. It will not be that bad. That they will get a grip on it. I do believe they'll get a grip on it, guys. I really, really do. So, guys, just before I go to the next article, if you haven't already, please consider hitting the like button, sharing across social media, and subscribe, because those really does help support the channel. And by the way, like Alistair Kier did, if you guys consider becoming a YouTube member, that financially supports me and the work that I do here. This YouTube channel and Patreon, they're the only two sources of income that I make at the moment, because I'm not currently working. But I am looking to getting back into work at some point, actually, believe it or not. But any financial support really does help support the channel, guys. So obviously watching the ads whenever I have ads on. I don't monetize my live streams, by the way. So any income that I make on live streams is only from you guys, whether it's from gifted memberships or super chats. Any kind of financial support is always greatly appreciated. However, if you're somebody who is struggling financially yourself, that's totally fine. Best way to support me, if you can't support me financially, hitting the like button, sharing across social media, and subscribing. Those are the best ways you can support me if you can't support me financially. But being a YouTube member gets you access to custom emojis. You get custom emojis of these guys behind me. So you get custom emojis of these guys. And it really does help. Ollie here is very happy because obviously Alistair Kier has been very friendly, very helpful today in supporting the channel here. And obviously Dave McGuinness and Number 3 obviously for their super chats as well. Other ways you can financially support me, guys, is by buying me a coffee. A link for that is in the description. Or you can join me on Patreon, and you get access to exclusive content on there. There's lots of content dropping over this week on Patreon, as well as exclusive content on Rumble. Do check out those links in the description as well. Plenty of discussions about Israel and Gaza on the Rumble channel. If you guys want to check, if you guys want more on me talking about Israel and Gaza and what's happening in there, and obviously I'll cover additional UK news on Patreon, and that content is free to watch, even if you're not a paid even if you're not a paid member on Patreon. You can check that out as well, guys. So thank you to everyone who has financially supported me in any way, shape or form. I really do appreciate it. Cathal, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. YMCA do a lot of work for young offenders and rehabilitation. Yes, I missed the YMCA. Yes, YMCA. To graduate, former Tory government would like to gift them a tour of the mini sub to the Titanic. So Simon says 55. Employing more probation service and other services, support, education, community service would be quicker and cheaper than building jails. But issues is the cuts that they've never had a pay increase in 10+ years. Wages again. There's another thing. QA Library. Thank you for that. Yeah, again, like teachers, like our doctors and nurses, we have people who aren't getting enough pay in their pocket. And why is it even worth? What is all this worth to them? It's just not worth it to them. It's just, it really is not. 100%. Again, like, yeah, it's just I really do. No worries, Genie Bolt. Thanks for popping by. I greatly appreciate it. I really do feel for people who work for our public services, who work so hard, who absolutely kill themselves. I wouldn't say literally, well, but who literally, they absolutely give absolutely everything they got, whether it's their love and passion for the NHS, whether it is for our schools, even whether if it's for the basic of just, doing the bit, clearing out our bins and the rubbish collections. All these jobs, these state jobs, that are vitally important for our public services. I absolutely commend these people, and they just don't get enough pay. They just don't get enough pay, guys, and it's not fair. It's really not fair. They do deserve a much better pay. All of these people deserve much better pay than what they're getting. And I really do hope Labour at some point addresses this issue, because it's not right. We need public services to run, and we need those who work in those departments to get paid at least a decent enough wage to be able to live off. Because right now, there's too many people are just not getting enough, not to being able to live off it. It's just really frustrating. Right, ran over. So this next one I've got for you guys, I know you're not going to like this one. So this one is from the Telegraph, guys, and it's a cause for concern. So I think I've talked a little bit about how, we've obviously seen memberships have grown in the Green Party. Well, the memberships have also grown in the Reform UK Party. It's reached 65,000 members, up nearly 2/3 in a month. So the surge in party population prompted Sir Tony Blair to warn Keir Starmer that he must control Britain's borders to see off the threat. So Reform apparently have reached up to 65,000 members, guys. That's incredibly frightening. And obviously their results in the general election, the amount of voter share that they got is obviously speaks volumes about that. I would say a lot of those people who have joined up membership are probably people who were once Conservatives and switched over to them. Obviously, there's some people who obviously just decide just to flat out go and join Reform as well. But let's be clear here. Obviously, They are not a proper political party. We have to stress this because a lot of people know this. They are a company. They are not a political party. They are a company, and the company is owned. It's kind of literally run by two people, Richard Tice and Nigel Farage, because they're the ones who put in the money for the party. Yes, they have been receiving some donations and whatnot, but they're the ones who are they are the dictators. Nigel Farage particularly is the dictator of the party, and anything he says goes at the end of the day, which is why Richard Tice got shafted at the last minute for Nigel Farage to become its leader. That's pretty much it, hypothetically. But they did get 5 MPs, and they got second in a lot of places as well. That's also really important to highlight. Can't argue that. Yes, I know the voting system was unfair. I know that. But still, people did cast their vote for him. Now, of course, like it says here about, Keir Starmer needs to address the immigration issue. He needs to obviously, like he always said, action, not words. So if the numbers go down, if this Border Security Command, or fancy name, actually does something and actually brings down the numbers. Hell, clearing the backlogs, obviously, the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, will obviously be working on that to knock that down. Those kind of things will obviously help. And obviously, if people start seeing less migrants, less people in hotels and barges, that will help. Only problem is, I can see the likes of the Telegraph, the Daily Mail, going to keep banging on about it. They're going to highlight like one tiny little issue, and they will blow it like 6 pages long to highlight this issue. But yeah, it's people generally believe, there are people out there, whether we like it or not, believe in Reform UK. So Reform's UK membership has soared by nearly 2/3 in the past month, and new figures show. Send them to, is Labour really that much better, or insumerably better? Send them to Siberia. Well, they've only just been in. Well, to be fair, for P10, they've only just been in. You shouldn't jump to conclusions when they've literally only just come into power. Like you got to give them at least 100 days. Yeah, like you're already jumping in the doom and gloom. Like anything. Yeah, anyone with common sense would give them at least 100 days to see what they can do. So I would just say, just be patient, and after 100 days, then let's see what they have done, rather than jump into conclusions. So Nigel Farage's party, which secured more than 4 million votes on Thursday, has attracted 25,000 new members since June the 8th, taking its total base to 65,000. It reveals a groundwell of support for the party in the final weeks of the election campaign, when Mr Farage set his sights on squeezing both the Tories and Labour votes. Reform, which ran on a platform of ending non-essential migration, was the third most popular party by vote share on July the 4th, winning 14% of the vote, 2 points ahead of the Lib Dems. Yeah, that's the thing is like, as much as I hate it, it's stupid that the Lib Dems got less vote share and got 72 seats. It is a bit silly. As much as you hate it. Do you have to go over to Twitch? No, you do not, One Angry Pagan. You do not need to come over to Twitch. You guys can perfectly, if you want to go over there, you're more than welcome to. You don't have to. But because of the nature of the UK electoral system, it won just 5 seats, or roughly 1% of those on offer. I am building a mass movement. Come and join us. It comes a month to the day after he announced Reform's membership had reached 40,000, and something is happening out here. Reform's popularity with voters at the ballot box has prompted senior figures across the political spectrum to sound the alarms, with Sir Tony Blair, I don't really care what he has to say, really, warning Sir Keir Starmer that he must control Britain's borders to see off the threat posed by the insurrectionist party. I can't say that word for some reason, maybe because my mouth is dry. The former Labour leader urged his successor to learn from the rise of Marine Le Pen and Giorgia Meloni's populist parties in France and Italy. Yeah. He also called on Sir Keir Starmer's government to take a tougher approach on law and order to avoid any vulnerability on Woki. Approximate members here. So you can see, so he's got these numbers here. It's not saying where their source from is here, according to the Telegraph here. But yeah, 432,000 members since December 2021. The Labour Party, 172,000 Conservatives. 74,000 Liberal Democrats, 72,000 SNP, 65,000 Reform, 54,000 the Greens, 10,000 Plaid Cymru. I don't know how accurate those numbers are because there's no numbers saying where their sources of these are from. So I'd be very skeptical about those numbers there, guys. So meanwhile, Suella Braverman, the former Home Secretary, has warned her party faces an existential threat from reform. She tweeted on Monday morning, the only place for one Conservative party in British... There's only one place for one Conservative party in British politics, and we face an existential threat from reform. Yeah, because you guys have been ignoring them. The whole time you guys were in power, you were ignoring them. Yeah, and then when they were making mockeries of you, even before the election was called, you were still ignoring them. And you guys are so pathetic. They're a threat to us. Yeah, no shit. Took you long enough to realise that. Oh, you only just realised after you've had your asses handed to you. Good to see you, Solari the Cat. Hope you're doing well. We need to adapt to be credible on immigration, leaving the ECHR. No, we do not leave the ECHR. Lowering taxation and stand against identity politics. Reform has now vowed to set up branches around the country to build on its election success. Richard Tice, who became the party's chairman after Mr Farage took over as leader last month, likened it to the startup including Apple and Microsoft. I don't think that's how they... I don't think you can tie Apple and Microsoft to politics there, but okay. If you want to go that way, sure. Pledging to continue to squeeze the Tory vote, Mr Tice revealed reform would formalise local groups across the country in a similar way to Conservative Party associations. He said, we're going to have reform branches around the country. Go forward as a startup, fine-tuning everything, learning and growing and consistently improving on all the things that Nigel said yesterday. We're going to grow just like any startup in the corporate world. The equivalent would be Apple or any tech startup that have grown and grown. Microsoft was founded in a garage, for goodness sake. I don't know how my Richard Tice impression was, but I hope it went. I hope it passed with flying colours. Mr Farage has claimed proportional representation would have given his party 97 MPs instead of 5. Actually, contrast to that, some had said as much as 100 plus, but. The number of party members sounds correct. I had to look up the number of channels. Some of the figures could be up to 2 years out of date, says QA Library. Interesting. Yeah, I just wish they put the source there. You know, whenever graphs or bars or articles that you, or you know, whenever you see things like that and you don't see the sources, you have to immediately like go, yeah, you know, you have to raise eyebrows. I know it's the Daily Telegraph, so they are a little bit more reliable, but yeah, I kind of wish they had put like the sources of where they were from would have been more helpful. But I obviously I would say pinch of salt anyway. But yeah, there was a massive increase in Green membership. I know for a fact. About a lot of people saying I should join the Green Party, if I'm honest. He said reform would nonetheless provide real opposition and build a mass movement for real change leading up to the next debate, at which he believes he will be a serious candidate for Prime Minister. I don't like you want to say that that's sure, okay, you want to say yourself you're going to be the next Prime Minister. You know, Jo Swinson said that she would be the next Prime Minister in 2019 as the Lib Dem leader. You know, do you remember that? Do you remember Jo Swinson? She's saying she was going to be the next Prime Minister. Do you guys remember those comments? Do you know what happened after that? She lost her seat. Yeah, be careful what you say. You know, I mean, at the moment, yes, they are popular. But just, oh, you guys popping over. Oh, I see. You're popping over to Twitch and going back. I see that. Yeah. Right back to YouTube. Okay. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate you swapping over to Twitch. Yeah, appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, let's just look at the membership numbers there. Obviously, QA Libraries verified they're roughly around the numbers anyway, which does look about right. But it is very impressive to see a good approximately amount of memberships for a bit more diversity there. Obviously, everyone's all jumped on the Labour bandwagon. Obviously, the Labour bandwagon. Obviously, because they're the ones that are going to be in power, so it makes sense for people to jump on that. I mean, obviously, a lot of people on the far left were saying that the numbers were going down. Obviously, on that number, that doesn't appear to be the case. Sounds like the figures are taken from party's website, and that's what been reported to HSQ Oversight Committee, etc. Yeah, that probably is QA. Probably is. But yeah, if you're looking at those numbers, it does look a bit more like it. I mean, you can't. I mean, Plaid Cymru, obviously, you can't. You know, they've got 4 seats in Wales, but yeah, 10,000. That sounds about right. SNP was 72,000 there, and Liberal Democrats 74,000. So yeah, I mean, obviously, still 100. They still got quite a good, decent chunk of membership there, the Conservative Party, despite having such a horrific 14 years. Yeah, I mean, obviously, just finally, obviously, they're not going to go away. And obviously, when when Parliament finally sits after the King's Speech, which is on the 17th of July, I haven't decided whether I'm going to cover the King's Speech. I probably am not going to cover it on a live stream. Don't think I'm going to do that, if I'm honest, guys. I'm probably going to leave it. But what I'll probably do is probably just do I'll do a recap of some of the things that were said in the King's Speech instead, like just go through and analyze it instead rather than live stream it. I'm sure Politics Social are going to cover it from top to bottom anyway, yeah, so there is that to come as well. That's from 2021 Labour figures. Yeah, it did say Labour 2021 Labour figures. Yeah, thanks for that. Joe Swinson got a very big head and wanted the top job, so didn't join Corbyn, and the rest is history. Yeah, she really should not have. She really should not have jumped. You know, should not have just said. You know, there is a case of just, you know, sometimes you shouldn't jump so high. You know, there are some lengths that you cannot jump to, and you have to be realistic, and she was nowhere near realistic. She really shot herself in the foot there, to be fair. So guys, I've got one more article for you guys before we head out, and I've got one more funny video as well. But this one, obviously, we've talked a bit about this already, but I wanted to talk about it here because this one is from the Times, so maybe this will give us a bit more ideas. Obviously, the dust is a bit more settled, but who could replace Rishi Sunak, the Tory party leader's candidate? So obviously we looked at the start, guys. If you didn't see this already, I'll show this again for you guys. So this is here. For those who are just coming in, if you scroll back to the front of the stream, you can check it out here. But this is a list of all the shadow ministers, obviously, for the Conservative Party. That came down not too long ago there. But obviously, not every single person who are potentially being candidates for the next Conservative leader are on that list. And obviously, that shadow cabinet is obviously just temporary, just to have a shadow cabinet there until obviously a new leader is put in place. And obviously, you know, like they can kind of say whatever they want because at the end of the day, they got kicked to the curb by the voters. Need a long time out. Highly suspicious character. Highly suspicious character? Pingu, I think he's talking about you. What's that? I can't tell you what Pingu said. Quite nasty language that Pingu says. But what I can tell you is he says stop accusing me of things that I'm not. He basically said so, Larry. So he's just said to you. It's a time when the badger is near. The badger cult is inevitable. Yeah. Yeah. I think you know what? If I ever see a badger stuffed plushie somewhere, I'll pick one up. Just to add to the gang. One angry pagan. If I ever do. So let's have a look at some of the runners and riders for this conservative race. Yeah. I mean, looking at these lot. I mean, yeah. So with the battle against Labour lost, surviving Conservative MPs can concentrate on the fight, which many of them have been long preparing. The contest will be the next Tory leader. Get the knives out, guys. Let's get the swords out. Let's duel. While Penny Mordaunt and Graham Sharps have been toppled by the voters, excuse me, a host of other senior Tories are expected to stand and replace Rishi Sunak. So Kemi Baganout, the former business secretary, Northwest Essex, majority of 2,610. He's odds on to replace Sunak at 2-1 at the moment. The straight-talking anti-woke warrior who is competent... Sorry, I had to laugh at that word. And excites the Tory faithful. Along the bookmakers' favourite, Ben Enoch stands among activists There have been risen more vocally loyal she has been to the Prime Minister, but few doubt her ability to get a campaign up and running quickly, and allies have been quietly to lay the groundwork for the leadership bid. She's someone who tells people the truth. She doesn't just repeat a line or says what people want to hear, one friend said. She thinks about the best way to explain something and then speaks plainly and passionately. She has won many admirers with her assault on identity politics, but her combative approach and reluctance to woo MPs has seen her hopes falter recently. One Tory MP called her the William Hague Northstar Jaws brilliant, but she's not ready. Another Conservative figure who has worked for her in the government says, Kemi will start a fight in an empty room. She had difficulty managing a shadow cabinet, but allies of Bagnot said this shows that other contenders are fundamentally scared of Kemi. If she can't even manage a shadow cabinet, how on earth could she possibly manage a country? Oh, that's not a very good sign. James Cleverly, the former Home Secretary, 3,670. I think he could actually manage a shadow cabinet, unlike the other one. Cleverly was reflective in his election count, 8-1 odds, by the way. Was reflective in his election count. He said there was nothing honourable in presenting simple and thin solutions to challenging and complex problems. He said he would be incumbent of the Conservatives to listen carefully to what the voters are telling us. The outgoing Home Secretary's increasing visibility during the campaign, including a turn on the dance floor as the star of the Tory summer party, had made it increasingly clear he's thinking of running. Cleverly as leader would be a challenge to the left, as his experience of childhood hardship hardens his belief in physical austerity. Oh, really? He had a hard child hardship. Such ways, guys, that he needs to keep. Was it him or I believe? Oh no, I'm mistaking him with Kwasi Kwarteng, aren't I? With keeping the stables warm, aren't I? Yeah, that was Kwasi Kwarteng. But yeah, he didn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much about this, if I'm honest. Cleverly is a natural communicator, but can be clumsy with it. One supporter said, I think he's a natural choice. He's done one or two of the 3 big posts. Was a very popular chairman that is relatable. He's a sharp contrast to Starmer and Sunak in that he's actually human. I do think he is human, but he's also a bit of a. He can also be a. I think he's definitely more competent than Kemi Bagnot. James could come through with the middle and be the unifier, but the party might not want a unifier. Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of a lot of things all over the place right now. Robert Jenrick, the former immigration minister, 9-1 with 3,752 majority in Newark. The right-wing convert who can appeal to centrists and the next generation, Jenrick has been one of the most prolific and overt candidates and standing out in colleagues likely to win their seats. A tactic seen as a naked attempt to win over future MPs who will be select the next leader. One candidate said he had rung up numerous colleagues asking for their views about the future of the party. The code for let's talk about the leadership has been rattled out on about immigration and where the party fell. He's seeking a new audience on the right and recently was the guest star at the dinner hosted by Liz Truss's new popcorn group, Popcorn. Yeah, I don't see him getting the nod. I just do not see him getting the nod. I'd be very surprised if he gets the nod, Robert Jenrick, if I'm absolutely honest. A supporter who said he had the credibility of quitting on a point of principle when he walked out in protest at Suranda's Rwanda plan and not going far enough. Yeah, he caused a strop, didn't he? Rob warned that reform would rise if immigration wasn't tackled properly, and we face a wipeout if we don't grip this. If it's been proven right, it's all said. Another of those considering support for Jenrick for leadership said he's a calming influence, not bombastic, but he doesn't exactly have the Boris-style personality that attracts people. Yeah. Not exactly someone that would appeal to people as well. Jenrick would be putting hardline immigration politics, such as capping net migration to under 100,000, ECHR withdrawal front and centre of his campaign. However, the latter will cause harm to his chances of winning over the One Nation caucus of Tories, who in private he claims to have the backing of a more acceptable face, other than other right-wing candidates. This is the dark horse who I think is who may take it. Dame Priti Patel, the former Home Secretary. And odds on 9-2. Johnsonites candidates who unify and attack. Patel has been substantially loyal to Sunak in public and following her previous staunch support for Johnson. is now considering a pitch for the candidate who can unify the party. She has received notable backing from centrist figures including George Osborne and David Gulak. Supporters have pointed out to Patel's experience of working with William Hague as his deputy press secretary after Labour's landslide in 1997, as proof that she has the experience to lead a party facing an existential crisis. However, there are questions on whether her blunt rhetoric will hold her back. The membership is hugely in favour of tough immigration policy, and they don't want any key language that Priti Patel and Suella use. She'll suffer from that, one party figure said. Honestly, I think I think Priti Patel would be their best bet. If I'm absolutely honest, if she throws in her hat in the ring, they should back her. If I'm absolutely honest, I think she would be their strongest out of the lot. Tom Tugendhat, a former security minister, 4-1 on him. And went out outside Westminster, one of the few who would appeal to both Tory members and voters. Tugendhat is vying to be one of the favourites of the One Nation caucus of Conservative MPs. Any chance it will be boosted by Morgan's loss? Tugendhat's allies said he is supportive from the right too. After 1997, it took the Tories 8 years and failed 2 attempts until they picked a winner in David Cameron. We need to avoid making the same mistake again, one friend said, given the safety of his seat. Tugendhat has been able to spend time helping other candidates. Sounding out colleagues, one senior Conservative said he's been prepping in a sensible and classy way. Tugendhat's run for leadership ended with him finishing 5th in 2022, but his allies hope his time in the cabinet will be a significant boost his chances next time. I don't see him more as a leader, but I do see him more as like a workhorse for the Conservative Party more than anything. Like he can definitely be like he's definitely like somebody you definitely want in that cabinet, but he's not someone. I don't see him as the leader. I see him like the workhorse for the party more than anything. I know work doesn't really associate with the Conservatives, but that's the kind of the way I would describe him with them. Suella Braverman, 8-1. Radical clean break agenda is needed to win back the red wall. Before Sunak even conceded the election, Braverman fired the starting gun on her leadership bid, promising to do everything in her power to rebuild trust. Braverman, who penned the post-mortem in the Telegraph before voting began, accepted responsibility for the losses. She was the party and said Conservatives need to learn from our lessons. Yeah, she was just literally like trying to say, like, acting as if she was already the leader, and it's just like the leadership contest hasn't even started yet. Some Tories said Braverman would be more at home in Nigel Farage's Reform UK, but instead she has called for the right to unite. She blamed the Tories' failures to attack Reform either for her party loss. The critics will cite Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rwanda, and I can immodestly predict that even me has all been fatal to our centrist vote. The reality is different. We are hangermongering votes largely to reform. Why? Because we failed to cut immigration or taxes or deal with the net zero and woke policies that are presided over the next 14 years, she said in her account. I think the only reason why the main reason why she won't switch to reform, guys, is she's not like Lee Anderson. She doesn't want to. She knows that if she goes to reform, she's not going to be able to oust Nigel Farage as leadership. She knows that. So, but she wants the power for herself. And I can see her, really trying to dog fight, for that top spot. I don't think she's someone that wants to be playing second fiddle to someone. I really don't. 2 separate Conservative figures from opposite ends of the party said Braverman's chances have shrunk after frequent public interventions that seemed designed to benefit herself rather than the Tories. With her calling during the election campaign for Farage to be welcome to the party seemed one of the final nails in the coffin. Nevertheless, one senior figure said she's done. Yeah, I think she said that to again just try to appeal to certain voter base and those. Maybe she will end up she's happy to be a stooge for Nigel Farage, but I don't see her switching to reform as of right now. She's got no chance. Victoria Atkins, 14-1. No, she's not exactly the brightest in the room. Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to fix the text over a little bit there. The serious heir to the One Nation throne who can stabilise and modernise the Conservatives from a centrist position. Oliver Dowden, the outgoing Deputy Prime Minister, recently cited the outgoing Health Secretary as one of the stars of the Tory party. Yeah, she was such a star of the Tory party. Well, Theresa May named her as one of the Conservatives' hope for the future, embroiled by May's endorsement. Atkins has sounded out colleagues about running for the leadership. With more than gone, one senior Tory said Atkins had a chance as the only woman of the centre-left of the party. But another of her colleagues said there's no way she'll get the members' vote. She won't. So the best she can hope for is getting through to the final two and coming a respectable second place. She will pitch herself as the one nation candidate who can stabilise the party with a serious platform that can win back centralist votes lost to Labour and the Tories, but with a record of adopting hardline positions on immigration appeases to the right. Yeah, she's not someone that's going to win over that. She's not going to some people that aren't going to win over. So Victoria Atkins, no. Suella Braverman, I don't think so. I don't think she's going to win enough votes. I don't think she's going to win enough for it. Tom Tugendhat is the safest pair of hands, but I don't see them backing Tom. This is the Priti Patel is the one I'm backing to become the next Conservative leader. By the way, that's not an endorsement of Conservatives in any way, shape, or form. This is just who I think is going to be the one to win it. And you guys can cast your vote tomorrow morning on the community post that is dropping 7 a.m. tomorrow morning on the channel, so you can cast your vote on who you think is going to be the next leader of the Conservative Party. As for Robert Jenrick, again, I just like the only reason he's kind of in there is because he didn't lose his seat, so I don't see him doing it. James Cleverly is another one in the running. I can potentially see him as a safe pair of hands straight away. I could see him initially as leader and then maybe getting kicked to the curb, maybe. Because he does conduct himself a lot. In my opinion, he conducts himself in the House of Commons a lot better than previous Conservative prime ministers. So he could potentially be the one, but I don't know if enough people will back him. Kemi Bakkenot, I don't know why she's the odd-on favourite. She's an absolute nutter. I don't know why they would put her as leader, but if they want to, but if they want to make it harder for themselves to get back into power, then go right ahead, But yeah, I don't have much faith in Kemi Bakkenot, if I'm honest, guys, as being the next leader. But what do some of you guys think? I didn't know Priti was a dame. Yeah, she was a dame. Yeah, they made her a dame. The party system sounds like a mob-style system. How Italian of them, says Zhao. Victoria Atkins, she was too busy with the Nativity Party to read the Leave agreement. Remember her, folks. Yeah, they're all out of luck because Pingu has shown up. Yeah, Pingu should put his hat in the ring. That's for sure. Tom is more of a tugger than tugging order, says Zhao. Laura Queensberg for Tory leader. Yeah, I'm surprised Laura Queensberg didn't throw her hat into it as well. Yeah, disappointed. Disappointed in that. The prettier is an example of what is of not the prettier. She is an example of it's not what you know, but who you blow. Okay. Honest Bob the Knob. Yep, pretty Darth Vader, says Zhao. Jenrick comes across as the kind of guy who would jump, scream, and run away if you surprised him in the dark, says Ronnie Pagan. How does one tell whether others are humans or not? No way of measuring that I know of. That's a good question. Jimmy's waiting for someone to lend him a brain cell. Cleverly at nothing. Did he have Sky as a child? I don't know. Jimmy Dimley, says Sir Larry the Cat. Bad chemical romance, says Stephen Banker. Kemi is a big girl, must have one heck of a punch. Imagine Kemi beating Rishi to submission. No, I don't want to imagine that, thank you. Kemi will be the biggest threat to reform, so I think, says Terry Regan. Yeah, potentially. Well, most of the front runners, why vote Conservative when you can get a full fat service of reform, says Kier Library. Yeah, that's true as well. But I generally believe that Priti Patel will find that if they want the best. In all seriousness, I think out of all those candidates, if there's generally someone that can actually unite them and actually take on board both sides and actually have some competence in there, it is Priti Patel. Priti Patel would be their best bet, and I actually think Priti Patel could stem off reform as well. I really think she could. By the way, that's not an endorsement. That's just basically my opinion and view. I have to keep saying that because I don't want people to start thinking I'm backing Conservatives or whatnot. Cleverly gave an interesting description of Stockton in Parliament, but it might have cost him support, said Cathal G. Yeah, that's probably true as well. Hi, Tory. Taser, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. So, hello, too busy working as a dominatrix, says Steve McMahon. Well, you must know something that we don't, because I'm not aware of that story. Anyway. So, guys, before we head out, guys, I've got a funny video for you guys. I think this is a nice fitting funny video. I don't know if I'm gonna have as many funny videos as I used to, because obviously now the Conservatives have gone. You can't be making it's gonna be hard to have funny videos now. I hope Matt Green and Exploding Heads and others still continue to make funny videos, but they might not be as political. But we'll see. Obviously, maybe I'm just worrying too much about it, if I'm honest, guys. But I hope you guys enjoy this funny video. This one, you may have already heard this from Politics Joe. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to mute this probably due to copyright. But hey ho, hope you enjoy.
I wake up in the morning and I find myself holding the keys to power, and I remind myself I was still the party of the working class. Should I have number 10 Hevil Dash? Used to be that the unions owned us. Now we make more money from donors. I praise things that Thatcher said. She could outhold Rishi, and Thatcher's dead. But my haters have been called a traitor more times than a said. My dad's a tool maker. It's not a secret, don't conceal the fact that if you're brown or black, you probably think I'm a twat. The saying, I'm a Tory undercover. We're more or less the same as each other. Since I made these changes, Jeremy and I are like two distant strangers. And now I've got to worry about payback for some pledge that I dropped off way back. Coming down the track after all these years. Flip flop, flip flop, flip flop. And that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. That's just the way it is.
Get out of my pub! I ruined it there. I'm sorry, I ruined it. I'm gonna have to play that bit again. Get out of my pub! Oh, I don't know why I was about to say some things will never change. Politics Joe, guys. It's on their YouTube channel if you want to check it out there. If you're somebody who's watching the pre-recording, there's a good chance I would probably have to mute it. No, I won't be able to mute it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Who knows? But guys, so just a quick update on what's happening this week, just so make you guys aware. Tomorrow, I'm doing a live stream. The Snowflake Corner will now be tomorrow instead of Fridays. So do come and join me tomorrow. I'll be live from 7 in the evening all the way up to when Max goes live at 8:30. I'm bringing it back to 7 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. guys. So if you guys want to hang out with me in the run up to Max's when Max goes live at 8:30, you're more than welcome to come and join me. We'll cover some world news there, and hopefully I'll get in the funny memes for you guys as well. So do join me there. I'll be back again on Wednesday with another episode, with another live stream of the Snowflakes Watch. So feel free to come and hang out with me that evening as well. And after that, we'll also do an after chat on the Discord server. So if you guys want to join me there, you're more than welcome to come and join me there. And then on Thursday, which is a very good one, with myself and One Angry Pagan, we'll be having a nice chat on Thursday evening. Do feel free to come and join us on Thursday night for that. We'll be talking all sorts of things. We'll be talking about the Labour government, talk about Greens, talk about reform. We'll talk about the situation in Gaza. So plenty to discuss there, and it'll be a very good chat as well, guys. So do join us on Thursday for that. And as for Friday, probably won't be a live stream on Friday. I'll probably just do a premiere video. I don't think I'll have a live stream for you guys there, but yeah, I'll kind of just do back-to-back live streams. We'll see how the week goes, guys. Plenty of content, of course, has been going to be dropping over the next couple of days on the channel as well. And I will also have a community post out either not tomorrow or Wednesday of what videos are dropping on Rumble or Patreon for those who want to know what videos are dropping. So if you guys are not sure whether or not you want to check them out, keep an eye out for the community post, guys. And remember, there'll be a poll tomorrow, guys, so you can have your voices heard. So before I head out, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come here today. Thank you guys all for your comments. Thank you for those who've given super chats today. Much, much appreciated. And not just for myself, but the gang here. Also, a big thank you to Kier for the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it, guys.
Like I said, 99p, 2.99 may not seem like a lot, guys, but it really does make a massive difference, and it really supports the work that I do here on the channel. So thank you guys so much for that. And hopefully I will catch you guys tomorrow evening before Max goes live. So do feel free to come and hang out. There's plenty to discuss. Obviously, there's the French elections. So obviously, I'm sure you guys would like to hear what I have to say on that as well. But just before you head out, guys, there's just got one last thing to say. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you could do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.